In this short video, I'm going to talk about using the sled or the prowler during pregnancy. And I absolutely love this piece of equipment, and you can use it multiple ways for a variety of conditioning and strength-based exercises. But most often you will see people pushing it with heavy loads or running with it at lighter loads, right? And it just so happens to be those two exercises that I won't use it for during pregnancy. And I'm going to tell you why and give you an alternative that I might use instead. But first, let's see what happens if you look up sled push pregnancy online. And of course, you're going to find articles that tell you that sled pushes are a great low impact option for pregnant women, as it's unlikely to aggravate the midsection and growing abdominals. And it doesn't overly stress out your hips or your pelvis. And of course, I agree with a small part of that. Sure, it's low impact. I absolutely agree with that. But like everything to do with training during pregnancy, the rest is totally individual. So you've got to think of it's all depending about what's actually going on with a woman's pelvis. It may or may not stress out the hips and pelvis. And when it comes to not aggravating the midsection and growing abdominals, this is again very individual. And you know what, for a large percentage of pregnant women, I'm actually going to disagree with this, because the abdominals and the pelvic floor are the two key reasons why I personally don't program a sled push for my pregnant clients, and I'm going to tell you why. So firstly, you have to remember that one of the main functions of your core is to transfer load from your upper and lower body. So your core is a huge component of a sled push, and you essentially want to keep your core engaged as you're pushing the sled, or through the entire time that you're pushing the sled. And this is in order to give your pelvis and the spine the stability that you actually need to generate the force with your lower body to be able to push it, right? Then of course, the position that you're in for a sled push is essentially a 4-point hold position. So a 4-point with your knees off the floor, but then your arms are above your head. Now, some pregnant women even struggle to maintain neutral intra-abdominal pressure with no peaking or doming in just the 4-point hold position, you know, with the hands and knees, with your knees off the floor. Now, the reason they may struggle could be that they just don't have the strength in their abdominals to work against the weight of the baby and gravity to maintain that neutral intra-abdominal pressure that we're looking for. So the pressure then causes your abdominals to peak or dome. And of course, when it comes to the sled or prowler push, you also have to add in that your arms are above your head, plus you're pushing a weight in a dynamic way, which increases the need to recruit your core correctly. Again, hard, right? Then of course you need to consider how the load is being transferred through your body, which is essentially directly through your body, starting at your arms, which are overhead, and of course you're then pushing a load that's in front of you, and then that then finishes at your feet as you use your legs to push the weight. Now, because of this, there is absolutely going to be load going through your pelvic floor. Granted, there won't be the same stretch on your pelvic floor as, say, the leg press, but you are still pushing load forwards with your arms over your head. So there will be load on your pelvic floor. And if you aren't able to maintain neutral intra-abdominal pressure in this movement, and your abdominals are already peaking or doming, then it's likely the incorrectly contained pressure is going to be pushing out through your abdominal wall and your pelvic floor, which is not what we want, right? That's not ideal. Now, if you really wanted to push a sled during pregnancy, then a way that you could simulate this movement to see if you're even able to maintain neutral intra-abdominal pressure correctly would be to do a static hold against a wall and see how that feels. You know, you could even get someone to feel your bump. Is it peaking or doming? Can you breathe through it and still connect to your pelvic floor? If you can do this for say 20 to 30 seconds in a static hold and maintain that connection to your pelvic floor while maintaining neutral intra-abdominal pressure, so no peaking or doming, then I'd be okay with you pushing a sled. If not, you might want to try a standing variation like a sled drag, which actually also gives you a really good stretch through your chest as an added bonus. That would be my go-to. Now, another reason I wouldn't typically program a sled push is because of just how damn quad and calf dominant this exercise actually is. And well, you've got to factor in the change in center of gravity, the anterior shift in your pelvis, and because of these things, you will usually find pregnant women already have tight, overworked quads and calves anyway. So I personally tend to have a more posterior focus in my exercise selection when I'm training pregnant women, which is why I would prefer to use something like a backward sled walk or a sled power pull instead. So while I'm a huge advocate of using the sled in a variety of ways during pregnancy, I will always challenge you to think of the reasons why you are programming it, the muscles you are targeting it, can you even do it, and whether or not there is an alternative that might be better suited to your pregnant body. Remember, it's such a short window of time that weighing the short-term benefit versus the potential long-term cost should always be at the forefront of your mind when training during pregnancy. So that's it from me today. I hope this video helped, and of course, if you want more in-depth pregnancy-specific content, feel free to join my complimentary but private community. The link is in my bio.